morning and welcome to today's almost daily devotional. We are continuing to look at the idea of hope and where do we find hope? Are we looking in the right places for hope? Is God providing hope and we're just looking in the wrong direction? So let's hear this story from the Gospel according to John. This is chapter 5 and we're going to start with the 5th verse. It goes like this. A certain man was there who had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, knowing that he had already been there a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I don't have anyone who can put me in the water when it is stirred up. When I'm trying to get to it, someone else has gotten in ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." Immediately the man was well, and he picked up his mat and walked. Now that day was the Sabbath. The Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It's the Sabbath. You aren't allowed to carry your mat." So there's a couple things here that's interesting. One, this man had been crippled for 38 years. So he basically was lying on a blanket by this pool for 38 years, depending upon the kindness of strangers, because he couldn't care for himself and he couldn't go out and work to get his own food. So he depended upon others to take care of him. Now this pool was known for its healing powers, and there was a complicated ritual that the person would go through in order to be healed in this pool. And it involved someone going in and stirring up the water a certain number of times, and the man dipping himself in the water to cleanse himself. And he's saying that by the time he gets himself to the pool, it's no longer active, it's no longer working. So he hasn't been able to be healed because no one helps him get to the pool. And Jesus, you can sort of imagine him flippantly saying, just, well, get up and walk. Just get up and walk, right? And the man does what he says, and he picks up his mat and he walks. And the Pharisees who are standing there say to him, "You aren't allowed to carry your mat on the Sabbath." This is the law against working on the Sabbath. So you're supposed to take a certain number of steps. You're not allowed to pick up a mat, in Pharisaic Judaism. And so he was breaking the rules. And so they missed the healing altogether. This man who had been there for 38 years was now walking, and they missed the point entirely. Now, that makes me ask a couple questions. Did they not see them? Did they not know it was the same person? Had they overlooked this man because he couldn't help himself, because he was disabled? Did they dismissed him as a non-person? And so they didn't notice that it was the same man who had been sitting on that mat by the pool for 38 years. And the other question to ask is, the miracle happened, and they were so busy worried about the process. They were so busy concerned about the rules, about the box, about how they expected things to happen, that they completely missed the miracle. And I wonder how many times we miss people who need our help. We miss caring for others who are in need of caring because we're not looking in the right place. And how often do we miss miracles? How often do we miss God at work because we're not looking for God, or because we put rules in place about how God can act, about how God can work, because we don't have the eyes open to see it? And it makes me wonder, who needed the healing at the pool? The man believed. The man knew that if he got into the water, he would be healed. He didn't need spiritual healing or emotional healing or any of that. He needed physical healing. But the Pharisees and the people who questioned the healing and the miracles and who got upset, they were the ones who really needed healing. They were the ones who needed a hand from God. So which person are we in the story? Where do we see God at work? And do we miss God because we're too busy looking for the rules in the wrong direction? God bless.